Good evening, everybody. It's your very best pal, Cal, coming to you with a video that I was thinking about rather extensively and trying to figure out how best to do this. And so this is going to be part one, not even really kind of a part zero or even a part point five of a series of videos that I want to do. Just going over kind of the history and some of the characters of the Green Lantern mythos. I've been a huge fan of Green Lantern since I was 14, 15, something like that. Right around actually when Kyle Rayner took over the mantle of Green Lantern. So that was around 93, 94-ish. I was 11, 12, 13. And again, as in so many things from when I was a kid, my brother was a bit of a fan. And wanting to be like my brother, I kind of glommed onto that. But wound up finding that I really enjoyed the character as a whole, not just Kyle Rayner, but just the character as a whole, the Green Lantern, I thought was a cool idea. So if we just kind of jump into this real quick, what is the Green Lantern? What are his powers? What is his appeal, for lack of a better term? And so at the most basic, the Green Lantern has a power ring. All right, so it's an emerald green ring that is usually worn on the middle finger of the dominant hand, left, right, whatever that may be, and through that ring, the user is able to will their thoughts into reality. Right, so literally the ring, and this was a bit not necessarily retconned, but expounded upon in Green Lantern Rebirth, the 2004-2005 event by DC writer Jeff Johns, with some dynamite, fantastic artwork from artist Ethan Van Sciver. Absolutely worth checking out. A great story, just fantastic. But the ring is powered by willpower. Okay, and so essentially you have to really, really want whatever it is that you're thinking to become reality. So when you use the ring, your thoughts are turned into or are made into hard light, for lack of a better term, physical holograms, and you're sketching over reality. And so, with that, you can use you can use them to make what are called constructs, and you can fly with it. It creates a force field. You can do almost anything you can imagine, as long as you have the willpower for it. Now, over the years, since say the 40s through at the very least, let's say 2016, 2017, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Earth Green Lanterns, starting with Alan Scott in the 40s. Who actually drew his power from the collected magic in the universe gathered into one place, called the Star Heart. But after that, once you start with Silver Age Green Lantern, with Hal Jordan in the 60s, and then of course bringing in John Stewart, Guy Gardner in the 70s. I was going to say 70s and 80s, but that makes it sound like they added one in the 70s and one in the 80s, and I don't think that's how it worked. And then Kyle Rayner in the 90s. And then after that, you had Hal coming back, and then you had 2 other Green Lanterns. Simon Baz, who his claim to fame was he was the first Muslim Green Lantern, Earth Green Lantern. Oh, I guess you wouldn't necessarily have space Muslims. You might. I don't know. And Jessica Cruz, who was actually, she had the power ring of a villain named Power Ring from, I think it was Earth 3, one of the multiverse, where there was an evil version of the Justice League called the Crime Syndicate. So there was an evil version of Superman, evil version of Wonder Woman, evil version of Batman, evil version of the Flash, and an evil version of Green Lantern called Power Ring. And so one of the appeals of it, and we're gonna get into a lot of the specifics of it, and I really hope that it generates some conversation, because I love talking about that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I really enjoy about Green Lantern is that it's an everyman story. Okay, so not everyone can be born on an alien planet, orbiting a red star that explodes, and you get sent to a planet that orbits a yellow star, and so you get superpowers. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can be the son of a quadrillionaire, and your parents get killed, and you spend the rest of your life training to fight crime and use your fortune to purchase and manufacture gadgets to aid you in your crime fighting. You can't always do that. You can't be the God of Thunder. You can't be not everyone can be irradiated by gamma rays, and when you get mad, you turn green or you turn red, and you go crazy. But the thing with Green Lantern is that just about anyone can be a Green Lantern, or anyone has the potential to be a Green Lantern. So the whole thing, when it was first introduced in even in the 60s, because the Alan Scott Green Lantern, it was a whole different ballgame. But in the 60s, when you were introduced to Hal Jordan, he was essentially a man without fear. Right? So like Daredevil, the man without fear, Hal Jordan, his claim to fame was, I can use this ring because I'm not scared of anything. And again, that was finessed and retconned a little bit more, again, going back to Rebirth, to where it's not, it isn't being without fear, okay? Very few people are truly without fear. And those people, I would imagine, would be fairly reckless. Now, Hal Jordan is fairly reckless, but not the same as I think you would be if you had no fear. But what it is overcoming fear. Okay, you remember, you recall your fear. You think about what scares you, and you fight it. Okay, and that's really the mark of a hero. Whether you're a Green Lantern, you're Superman. Again, as my co-host on the Midnight Jury, Mike Norengonger, and I discussed during our Angus episode, Superman isn't really brave because he knows that 99.8% of the situations he gets into, he's going to be able to walk away from. It's for your people like your Batmans or Batman, and even to a lesser extent your Green Lantern or your Flash, who they can legitimately be hurt, and they put themselves in harm's way anyway. And so that's what kind of the part of the fun of Green Lantern is, seeing these various different personality types, but at the end of the day, everybody's a hero. So that brings us to the end of part 0 or part 0.5, whatever you want to call it. We are going to get more in depth with a lot of the situations. To be honest, I'm not going to go over much of Alan Scott. I was never a huge fan of him, kind of growing up, and just while he played more of a role through Kyle Rayner's Green Lantern run, and we'll certainly we'll touch on his accompanying of that. Really, we're gonna go over Hal. We're gonna touch on John Stewart. We're gonna touch on Guy Gardner. We're gonna get into Kyle, and we're really there are a few specific stories that I really want to go over. One of them I already mentioned was Green Lantern Rebirth of 2004-2005. Jeff Johns, Ethan Van Sciver. It's terrific. I can't wait to go over that with you guys. And another one, and I think it's going to be the topic of my next Green Lantern video. We did a real kind of broad overview. What the next video is going to be, we started kind of at the beginning here to go over it, and we're going to jump all the way to the very end. Okay, and so what do I mean? What I'm talking about is the Alan Moore story, Tigers. Right? It appeared in Green Lantern Corps Annual number 2, and it features the Earth Green Lantern, or the Green Lantern who patrolled the sector of space that Earth is in prior to Hal Jordan, an alien named Abin Sur. Well, actually, I always pronounced it Abin Sur, but apparently that's wrong, because I also pronounced the Scottish town of Aberdeen as Aberdeen. So I'm all over the place with just being wrong. But the next video, we're going to go over that. It's a really good story. It's a prophetic story. For those of you who perhaps like the book of Revelation in the Bible, is this a biblical thing? It's not really a biblical thing, but it's prophecy. It's an end of days prophecy. And it's just really cool how it all works in. And it's, for lack of a better term, it's haunting. It's a haunting story. It kind of stays with you. And it's interesting that way. So thank you, everybody, for stopping by. I encourage you to please come back. If you can, please hit the subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. If you've already subscribed, please double check to make sure that you still are. Please make sure that you're still checked for notifications. YouTube sometimes thinks they know better than you as far as what you should be watching, and so they will automatically unsubscribe you or take you off notifications. You can also find me and my co-host Mike Norengonger on Twitter at Midnight Jury. He also has his own Facebook page, Midnight Mike Show. Definitely worth checking out. I'm going to put a link in the description below. Remote control. What else? WLWstudios.com, home of our flagship show, The Midnight Jury. Definitely worth checking out. We also each have our own Facebook pages. Calvin Brody, Brodie, and Mike Noringonger, N-O Ringonger. And that's worth checking out as well. If you don't like what I did today, if you did like what you did today, if you have thoughts, even if they may not necessarily be the nicest ones, please comment below. Let's start a conversation. I'm always willing to listen to some constructive criticism, even maybe some not constructive criticism. All the same, I do enjoy a scintillating dialogue. And that's pretty much it. This is your very best pal, Calvin Brody, and I sincerely hope you all have a great rest of your night.